So let us solve a problem on design of armature. Okay, here we have to find out the main dimensions of the armature as well as we have to design the armature winding and the number of armature slots. So the question is, determine the length and diameter of armature core for a 55 kilowatt 110 volt 1000 rpm 4-pole shunt generator assuming specific electric and magnetic loadings of 26,000 ampere conductors per meter and 0.5 Weber per meter square respectively. The pole arc should be about 70% of pole pitch and length of core about 1.1 times the pole arc. Allow 10 ampere for the field current and assume a voltage drop of 4 volt for the armature circuit. Specify the winding used and also determine the number of armature conductors and number of slots. So first of all, let us note down the parameters given. Okay. So output is 55 kilowatt. P out is equal to 55 kilowatt. 110 volt. Terminal voltage is 110 volt. 1000 rpm. Speed in rpm is 1000. Number of poles is 4. Shunt generator. Assuming specific electric and magnetic loading. So specific electric loading AC is equal to 26,000 ampere conductors per meter. Then B average, specific electric loading, B average is given as 0.5 Weber per meter square. Now the pole arc should be about 70% of pole pitch. Pole arc we usually denote it as B. It is 70% of pole pitch, that is 0.7 times tau, pole pitch tau. And also core length, that is L, is equal to 1.1 times the pole arc, that is B. Allow 10 ampere for the field current. So it is a shunt generator and the shunt field current is given as 10 ampere. Then assume a voltage drop of 4 volt for the armature circuit. So voltage drop in the armature is 4 volt. So drop in the armature we denote it as IARA. IARA drop in the armature is 4 volt. So specify the winding used. We have to find out the type of winding to be used. Then the number of armature conductors and the number of slots. Okay. So we have already noted down the parameters given. So now let us proceed with the problem. So first of all, we have to find out the main dimensions, that is D and L. We have to find out. So for that, what is the procedure? We will first take the output equation. Okay, PA is equal to C0 D square L into N. So from here we have to find out the value of D square L. Thereafter, based on the dimensional relationships of the pole, we have to separate D and L. So this is the basic procedure for finding out the main dimensions. Find out D square L from output equation. So output equation we have it as PA, that is power developed in the armature, is equal to C0 D square L into N. So in order to find out D square L, we need to know the value of PA, that is power developed in the armature. So here the output power of the machine is given and the machine is a generator. So in case of generators, we can write the power developed in the armature PA is equal to output power divided by efficiency. But in this question, efficiency is not given. So we have to calculate the power developed in the armature PA as the product of induced EMF in the armature into armature current. So we have to use this equation for calculating the armature power. So we need the value of induced EMF in the armature as well as the armature current. Okay. we have to calculate induced EMF and armature current, and we know the voltage equation, voltage relationship for a shunt generator. For a shunt generator, the induced EMF E can be written as terminal voltage V plus voltage drop in the armature. So V is given here as 110 volt, and also the voltage drop in the armature is given as 4 volt. So 110 plus 4 is equal to 140 volt. So this is the induced EMF in the armature. And also for a shunt generator, the armature current IA will be the sum of load current and the shunt field current. Okay. So we have the load power as well as the load voltage. So let us calculate the load current. Load current will be 55 kilowatt. So 55 into 10 raised to 3 divided by voltage is 110 volt, and the answer will be 500 ampere. So this is the value of load current. So armature current will be 500 plus the shunt field current is given as 10 ampere. So 500 plus 10 is equal to 510 ampere. So now we have to calculate the power developed in the armature. So armature power PA will be equal to induced EMF in the armature into armature current, which is equal to 114 into 510 ampere, which is equal to 114 into 510, which is equal to 58.14 into 10 raised to 3 watts. We'll get the answer as 58.14 into 10 raised to 3. But we have to, in our output equation, we have to represent the armature power in kilowatt. So this will be 58.14 kilowatt. So we have calculated the armature power. Now we have to substitute the value of armature power in the output equation and then calculate the value of D square. So output equation is PA is equal to C0 D square L into N. So let us calculate output coefficient C0, which is equal to pi square into B average into AC into 10 raised to minus 3. So we have pi square into B average is given as 0.5 into AC is given as 26,000 into 10 raised to minus 3, which is equal to 128.3. We'll get it as 128.3. Unit is kilowatt per meter cube RPS. So we have got the value of C0. Now substitute C0 in output equation. Then we will get the value of D square L as PA divided by C0 into N. PA divided by C0 into N, which is equal to 58.14 divided by 128.3 into N. Small letter n is the speed in RPS. Speed in RPM is given as 1000. So we have to substitute 1000 divided by 60, which is the speed in RPS. So the answer will be, you will get D square L as 0.0272 meter cube. 0.0272 meter cube. So this is the value of D square L. So D square into L, meter square into meter. So the unit will be meter cube. So we have got the value of D square L. Now we have to separate D and L from D square L, and this has to be done based on the pole proportions, dimensions of the pole. Okay. So we have D square L as 0.0272 meter cube. Okay, now let us separate D and L from D square L. We have D square L as 0.0272 meter cube. And let us use the dimensions of the pole to separate D and L. So in the question it is given that the core length is equal to 1.1 times the pole arc, which is equal to, and the pole arc is given as B. The pole arc is given as 70% of pole pitch. That is 1.1 into B is given as 70% of pole pitch toe. So here we can substitute. So that is L is equal to 1.1 into 0.7 into toe. Toe is the pole pitch, that is pi d by P. Okay. Which is equal to, what is 1, and here P, in this question number of poles is given as 4. Okay, 4. So substituting the known values here, we will get L is equal to 0.6048 D. So the relation between L and D is L is equal to 0.6048 D. So substitute this value here. So D square into L is 0.6048 D is equal to 0.0272 meter cube. So from here we'll get D cube is equal to 0.0272 divided by 0.6048. So solve this equation and find out the value of D. Then you will get the value of armature diameter D as 0.356 meter. Okay. So D is 0.356 meter, and substitute the value of D here, 0.356. Then you will get the value of L. So on substituting that, the value of L that you are going to obtain is 0.215 meter. So these are the value of armature diameter and armature core length. So far we have calculated the main dimensions of the machine, the diameter of the armature as well as the length of the armature core. Okay. So now we have to design the armature. So moving on to the armature design. So first of all, design the winding, thereafter go for the slot. So armature design, and under that, first of all we have to choose the type of armature winding, whether we have to use lap winding or wave winding. So write type of winding. And always choosing the type of winding, we have to look into the armature current, value of armature current. So we have already seen, while choosing the number of poles, we have seen that the current per parallel path should not exceed 200 ampere. So this should be the basic factor for choosing the type of winding. The current per parallel path should not exceed 200 ampere. So we have the armature current. Current per parallel path means armature current per parallel path. So we have already calculated the armature current as 510 ampere. IA is equal to 510 ampere. So calculate the current per parallel path for lap winding as well as for wave winding. So for lap winding, so if we are choosing a lap winding, the current per parallel path equal to, so current IA divided by, so what is the number of parallel paths in case of a lap winding? So we know that for lap winding, number of parallel paths is equal to number of poles. So here there are 4 number of poles. So current per parallel path will be equal to IA divided by 4 is equal to 127.5 ampere. You will get it as 127.5 ampere. And do the same thing in case of a wave winding. So for wave winding, calculate the current per parallel path, which is equal to current divided by number of parallel path. So in case of a wave winding, the number of parallel path is 2, wave winding number of parallel paths is always 2. So Ia by 2. So you will get the value as 255 ampere. So if we are using a lap winding, current per parallel path will be equal to 127.5 ampere. And if we are using a wave winding, current per parallel path is 255 ampere. And we know that the current per parallel path should not exceed 200 ampere. So that means we cannot choose this value. That is, we cannot choose a wave winding. So what is the answer? So we have to go for a lap winding in this case. So type of winding will be a lap winding. So we have calculated this. We have found out the type of winding to be used, and it is a lap winding. So we have selected the type of winding as lap winding. Now let us calculate the number of armature conductors. Number of armature conductors required. So we have already discussed these factors, the theoretical portion of these steps. That is, we have to calculate the number of armature conductors required, Z, from the equation for induced EMF. So we already know the equation for induced EMF in the armature, and that is E is equal to phi Z NP divided by 60A. So from this equation, we can write the number of armature conductors Z as E into 60 into A divided by phi NP. Okay. So here we have chosen a lap winding, and in case of a lap winding, number of poles and number of parallel paths are equal. So we can cancel number of poles and number of parallel paths. So resulting equation is E into 60 divided by phi into N. So E is the induced EMF. We know the value. We have already calculated it, and we have got it as 114 volt into 60 divided by phi into N. N is given as 1000 RPM. But the value of phi, we don't know the value of phi. So let us calculate the value of phi. So for that, think of any other parameters which contains phi. So we have B average here, B average. And we know the equation of B average as P phi divided by pi dl. So B average is given as 0.5 Weber per meter square. Okay, so we know the number of poles, diameter of the machine, length of the machine we have already calculated. So from here find out the value of phi. So from this equation, phi will be B average into pi into D into L divided by P. That is 0.5 into pi into, we have got the value of D as 0.356 and the value of L as 0.215 divided by number of poles is 4. So then when calculating this value, you will get the value of phi as 0.03 Webers. 0.03 Weber is the value of phi. Substitute that value there. Then you will get the number of armature conductors Z as E, induced EMF is 114 into 60 divided by 0.03 into 1000. So the number of armature conductors that you will get will be 228. Okay, so this is the number of armature conductors, 228. So far we have found out the type of winding to be used and the number of armature conductors. So now let us calculate the number of armature slots. So for calculating the number of slots, we have some guidelines. And the first guideline was the slot pitch should lie in between 25 mm to 35 mm. So slot pitch should be in between 25 mm to 35 mm. Okay, let us use that guideline first. So what slot pitch? We usually denote slot pitch as YS, and as it is the armature slot, note it as YSA. So this will be equal to pi D, that is periphery of the armature divided by number of slots. So armature in the total circumference divided by number of slots ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ രണ്ട് സ്ലോട്ടിന്റെ ഇടയ്ക്കുള്ള ഡിസ്റ്റൻസ് കിട്ടും. That is the slot pitch. And from here we can write the number of slots as number of slots SA is equal to pi d by YSA. Pi d divided by YSA. Okay. So now we have the ranges 25 mm to 35 mm. So substitute that values here and find out the range of the slots. So these are the limiting values of slot pitch. On substituting those values in this equation, we will get the range of slots. So like this, for YSA slot pitch is equal to 25 mm, we will get SA is equal to pi into D is 0.356 divided by YSA is 25 mm, that is 25 into 10 raised to minus 3, because D we have substituted in meters, so we have to substitute YSA also in meters. So answer will be 45. Okay. So now the second range, that is 35 mm. So for YSA is equal to 35 mm, find out the number of slots. So SA will be equal to pi into D, that is 0.356 divided by 35 into 10 raised to minus 3, which is equal to 32. So the range of slots will be 32 to 45. So this is the acceptable range of slots. So now let us go for the second guideline. The second guideline that we have to use is that we have selected a lap winding, and for a lap winding, number of slots should be a multiple of pole pairs. Number of slots should be a multiple of pole pairs. So here we have 4 number of poles. So number of pole pairs will be 2. Okay, 4 number of poles. So there are 2 pairs. So here the total number of slots should be a multiple of 2. So we have got the ranges 32 to 45, that is 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, etc. 45. But the value should be a multiple of pole pair, and pole pair is 2. So number of slots should be a multiple of 2. That means we have to consider all the even numbers between 32 and 45. So therefore possible choices are (32) even numbers, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42 and 44. Okay. So these are the possible choices. Now we have to go for the next guideline. So the next guideline is that for lap winding, the slots per pole should be an integer plus or minus 1 by 2. So let us consider the third guideline, that is for lap winding, the slots per pole should be an integer plus or minus 1 by 2 in order to reduce flux pulsations. To reduce flux pulsation, slots per pole should be an integer plus or minus 1 by 2. An integer plus or minus 1 by 2. Slots per pole. So this is for lap winding. Wave winding വരുമ്പോൾ slots per pole ന് പകരം slots per pole arc ആവും. So for lap winding, slots per pole should be an integer plus or minus 1 by 2. So our available possible choices for slots are 32, 34, 36, 38, 40, 42 and 44. So let us calculate the slots per pole corresponding to each of this. So number of poles is 4. So calculate the slots per pole. So this will be 8. 8 into 4, 32. This is 8.5 9, 9.5, 10, 10.5, 11. So, as per the guideline, slots per pole should be an integer plus or minus 1 by 2. That is, we can choose either 8.5, 9.5 or 10.5. So, these are integers plus or minus 1 by 2. 8.5 means 9 minus 1 by 2. So, this is 9 plus 1 by 2. So, like that, we can choose either 8.5, 9.5 or 10.5. So, corresponding number of slots are, so possible number of slots are 34, 36 and 38. Okay, 34, 36 and 38. And we have another guideline which is saying the slots per pole should be in the range 9 to 16. The slots per pole should be in the range 9 to 16. So we cannot choose this 8.5. We can choose either 9.5 or 10.5. That is corresponding slots 38 or 42. So we cannot choose this. So this is not 36. The possible choices are 34, 38 and 42. Okay. So I was wrong here. So these are the correct values. Corresponding to 8.5 it is 34. Corresponding to 9.5 it is 38. And corresponding to 10.5 it is 42. And as the slots per pole should be in the range 9 to 16, we cannot choose this 8.5 or 34. So possible choices are 38 and 42, and let us choose the minimum value from that. So number of armature slots. We have got the number of armature slots. So number of armature slots should be equal to 38. So this is the value of number of armature slots. So right after getting the value of number of armature slots, you have to calculate number of conductors per slot. So this is the next step. Number of conductors per slot. Okay, we have got the number of conductors as 228 divided by number of slots 38. You will get the value as 6. Okay. So note down that value there. So now we have to calculate the number of armature coils. So while calculating the number of armature coils, we have to ensure that the number of armature coils that we are going to use is greater than the required minimum value. So there is a minimum number of coils required. There is a minimum value for number of coils required, and we have already studied that equation. Minimum number of armature coils required is EP divided by 15, where E is the induced EMF, P is the number of poles. So we have induced EMF in this case as 114, number of poles as 4 divided by 15. So you will get the value of minimum number of coils as 30. Okay, so this is the minimum number of coils required. Now let us calculate the number of armature coils. Okay, let us denote it as C, and the equation for calculating the number of armature coils is half into U into SA, where U is the number of coil sides per slot. Okay, U is the number of coil sides per slot. നമുക്കറിയാം ഒരു particular coilന്, if this is one coil, it will be having two sides. This is one coil side, this is one coil side. ഒരു കോയിൽ സൈഡ് നമ്മൾ ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിൽ വെച്ചാൽ മറ്റേ സൈഡ് വേറെ ഏതെങ്കിലും ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിലായിരിക്കും. അങ്ങനെ ഒരു പർട്ടിക്കുലർ സ്ലോട്ട് നമ്മൾ എടുത്താൽ ആ സ്ലോട്ടിനകത്ത് തന്നെ പല കോയിലുകളുടെ കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. ഓക്കെ, we know about double layer winding. Double layer winding means രണ്ട് കോയിലുകളുടെ സൈഡ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. ഡബിൾ ലെയർ വൈൻഡിങ്ങിൽ ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിൽ തന്നെ രണ്ട് കോയിൽ സൈഡ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. സോ യു എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മളിവിടെ എടുത്തിരിക്കുന്നത് നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട്. ഒരു കോയിലിന് 2 സൈഡ് ഉണ്ട്. ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിൽ തന്നെ നമുക്ക് പല കോയിൽ സൈഡുകൾ വെക്കാം. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടില് എത്ര കോയിൽ സൈഡ് ഉണ്ട് എന്ന് ഡിനോട്ട് ചെയ്യുന്ന വാല്യൂ ആണ് യു. ഇനി അപ്പോൾ ഒരു കോയിലിന് 2 സൈഡ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ അതേ ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2, നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2 ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ് കിട്ടും അല്ലെ. ഓക്കെ, ഒരു കോയിലിന് 2 സൈഡ് ഉണ്ട് അല്ലെ. അപ്പൊ 10 കോയിലിന് എത്ര സൈഡ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും? 20 സൈഡ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും അല്ലെ. അപ്പൊ 20 സൈഡ്, കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2 ചെയ്താൽ നമുക്ക് എത്ര കിട്ടും? നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ് കിട്ടും. അപ്പൊ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട് ആണ് യു. ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിലുള്ള കോയിൽ സൈഡ് അതേ ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2 ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട് കിട്ടും. അതേ ഇൻറ്റു നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ്. ഒന്നുകൂടി പറയാം, യു ഈസ് ദ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട്. ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിൽ എത്ര കോയിൽ സൈഡ് ഉണ്ടെന്ന്. ഇനി ഒരു കോയിലിന് 2 സൈഡ് ഉണ്ട്. അപ്പൊ ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സൈഡ് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2 ചെയ്താൽ എത്ര കോയിൽ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് കിട്ടും. സോ യു ഈസ് ദ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽ സൈഡ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട്. അതേ ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2 ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട് കിട്ടും. അതേ ഇൻറ്റു ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ് കിട്ടും. ഇതാണ് ജനറൽ പ്രൊസീജിയർ ഫോർ കാൽക്കുലേറ്റിംഗ് ദ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ്. ഇനി നമുക്കറിയത്തില്ല യുവിന്റെ വാല്യൂ എത്ര ആണെന്ന്. നമ്മൾ മെഷീൻ ഡിസൈൻ ചെയ്യുക. അപ്പൊ നമുക്ക് യുവിന് പല വാല്യൂസും സബ്സ്റ്റിറ്റ്യൂട്ട് ചെയ്ത് നോക്കാം. നമ്മുടെ ചോയ്സ് ആണത്. പ്രൊവൈഡഡ് ദ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ് ദാറ്റ് വി ആർ ചൂസിങ് ഷുഡ് ബി ഗ്രേറ്റർ ദാൻ ദ റിക്വയർഡ് മിനിമം വാല്യൂ. അതേ ഉള്ളൂ. യുവിന് നമുക്ക് ഇഷ്ടമുള്ള വാല്യൂ എടുക്കാം. ഓക്കെ, so first let us go for u is equal to 2. So this is the procedure. First of all, choose u is equal to 2, then find out the corresponding number of coils. So half into u is 2 into SA, number of slots is 38. So our answer will be 38. Now go for the next. U is equal to 4. So we are actually choosing the number of coil sides as 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 like that. Okay, when C is equal to U is equal to 4, C will be half into 4 into 38, which will be equal to 96. Okay, right now these two values are enough because we have our minimum number of coils as 30. So in the first case itself, we have got the number of coils as more than the required minimum value. So we can choose this value. And before fixing the value of number of coils, we have to ensure one more thing. So that is an important point. So the coil sides per slot should be divisible by conductors per slot. This is very important. Required minimum value ആയോ എന്ന് മാത്രം നോക്കിയാൽ പോരാ നമുക്ക്. In addition to that, the coil side per slot, coil sides per slot അല്ല, conductors per slot. Conductors per slot should be divisible by coil sides per slot. Okay, so we have already calculated the conductors per slot in this case. Conductors per slot, and that was 6. So 6 is divisible by 2. Okay, so 6 is divisible by 2. So we can choose this value 38. So here number of armature coils will be 38. Okay, so now we have got all the required values. Now let us take it. Now let us write it again. Okay, now let us write down all the results together. So we have got the number of slots. Number of slots as 38. Number of armature coils. Number of coils also as 38. Then we have calculated the conductors per slot. Conductors per slot as 6. Okay. So total number of slot 38 ഉണ്ട്. ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിൽ 6 കണ്ടക്ടറും ഉണ്ട്. So based on that we have to again rearrange the value of total number of conductors. We said even if we have already calculated this value, according to these two values, conductors per slot and number of slots, we have to rearrange the value. So 38 conductors per slot into total number of slots, which will be 228, which is the value we have already obtained. ഇനി ചില കേസിൽ ഇവിടെ ഡിഫറൻസ് വരും, കാരണം നമ്മൾ കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട് ഇപ്പൊ 228 ആയിരുന്നു നമുക്ക് ആദ്യം ഇവിടെ കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ചെയ്ത ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് 228. അത് വെച്ചിട്ട് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്തപ്പോഴാണ് എനിക്ക് 6 കിട്ടിയത്. ചിലപ്പോ എനിക്ക് ഇതിവിടെ ഇന്റിജർ കിട്ടത്തില്ല, പക്ഷെ എനിക്ക് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് പെർ സ്ലോട്ട്, ഒരു സ്ലോട്ടിൽ വെക്കുന്ന കണ്ടക്ടർ ഇന്റിജർ തന്നെ വേണം. ഇന്റിജർ അല്ല കിട്ടുന്നതെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ ഇതിനെ റൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ചെയ്ത് ഇന്റിജർ ആക്കും. റൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ചെയ്ത് ഇന്റിജർ ആക്കുന്ന കേസിൽ എന്ത് ചെയ്യണം? തിരിച്ച് ആ ഇന്റിജർ ഇൻറ്റു നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് ഞാൻ ഈ വാല്യൂവിനെയും ചേഞ്ച് ചെയ്യണം. അങ്ങനെ എന്തെങ്കിലും ചേഞ്ച് വരുത്തുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ അത് അക്കോമഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്യാനാണ് ഇവിടെ വീണ്ടും ഒന്നുകൂടി ഈ ഇസഡ് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കുന്നത്. ഇസഡ് ഓൾറെഡി ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടിയതാണ്. അവിടെ ചില കേസിൽ നമുക്ക് റൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ചെയ്യേണ്ടി വരും. അപ്പൊ റൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ചെയ്തിട്ടുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ തിരിച്ച് റൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ചെയ്ത് കിട്ടിയ വാല്യൂ ഇൻറ്റു നമ്പർ ഓഫ് സ്ലോട്ട് ചെയ്ത് ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സിനെ നമുക്ക് മോഡിഫൈ ചെയ്യണം. സോ ഇവിടെ നമ്മൾ റൗണ്ട് ഓഫ് ചെയ്തിട്ടില്ലായിരുന്നത് കൊണ്ടാണ് ഇസഡിന് വേരിയേഷൻ ഒന്നും ഇല്ലാത്തത്. So one more value we have to find out, that is the number of turns per coil. ഒരു കോയിലിൽ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ടെന്ന്, 38 കോയിൽ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് നമുക്ക് കിട്ടി. ഒരു കോയിലിൽ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് നമുക്കറിയാം. ഒരു കോയിൽ എന്നെങ്കിൽ ഒരു സിംഗിൾ ടേൺ കോയിൽ ആവാം, ഒരു ടേൺ മാത്രമുള്ള ഒരു കോയിൽ, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മൾട്ടി ടേൺ കോയിൽസ് ആവാം. സോ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കണം. ഒരു കോയിലിൽ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ട്. ഓക്കെ, ഒരു കോയിലിൽ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ടെന്ന് കണ്ടുപിടിക്കാൻ ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ടേൺസ് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ്. അല്ലെ, നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ടേൺസ് പെർ കോയിൽ, ഒരു കോയിലിൽ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ടെന്ന്. അപ്പൊ ടോട്ടൽ എത്ര ടേൺ ഉണ്ട് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് കോയിൽസ്. നൗ ഹൗ വിൽ യു കാൽക്കുലേറ്റ് ദി നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ടേൺസ്? ടോട്ടൽ നമ്പർ ഓഫ് ടേൺസ്, total number of conductors divided by 2 divided by number of coils. അല്ലെ, രണ്ട് കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് ചേരുമ്പോഴാണ് ഒരു ടേൺ ആവുന്നത്. സോ കണ്ടക്ടേഴ്സ് ഡിവൈഡഡ് ബൈ 2 we will get the number of turns. So Z by 2C. So value will be 3. 228 divided by 2 into 38. The answer will be 3. So ഒരു കോയിലിൽ 3 ടേൺസ് ഉണ്ടായിരിക്കും. So this is the answer. And you have to follow the same procedure to solve all the problems.